In today, part 2 of our 2-part podcast with Colonel Bob Mitchell, he's going to be describing today some of the things that he has learned and what he is seeing that can undermine our leadership or propel our leadership to completely different places of excellence. So take a listen. There's some good stuff coming up.
At InitiativeOne, we're igniting a leadership revolution by helping organizations eliminate the drama, improve decision-making, and win as a team. Join Dr. Fred Johnson on the Leadership Initiative podcast as we uncover insights to maximize your impact and transform your life.
Bob, in the few moments that we have left, you and I have had the privilege of talking about leadership and decision-making. One of the two things that separates world-class leaders, one is, do they deal with their issues or do their issues deal with them because they don't deal with their issues? The second is, they simply make decisions better, consistently, more than their competitors. How would you describe the essence of decision-making as a leader? What helped you to become so effective and decisive and clear as a leader in your decision making as you led all of your troops?
I think that's a complex question, but I'm going to try to drill down just a little bit on that. You know, the one thing that I have been privileged is learning and being mentored and coached by some exceptional leaders that I have had the privilege to work with. And I think more than anything, the leadership values and the traits, you know, that come about, you as a leader, you are going to develop your mantra, what you're going to do, what you're going to represent. I have probably learned more from bad leaders, toxic leaders, than I have from good leaders. Because good leaders do the routine things. They do the good things all the time. They're not in it for themselves. They're in it for the team. If you are fortunate enough to be part of an organization, part of a complex outfit that is a team, there is no one coach, there is no one individual, there's no one CEO, there's no one CFO that is more important than the team. And I'm going to reflect back on, as I've looked over my career, if people have followed me or they have been inspired, it wasn't because I was trying to do that. It just kind of happened naturally. And it goes down to fundamentals. I picked up a article last night that I read, and I won't mention the CEO of a very big company. I was flabbergasted at the compensation package that he had just been offered, but he is going to work off-site from the main headquarters. And right there I thought, and this guy is getting paid very, very good money, obviously. I'm talking a Fortune 100 company. He just took over. And he's using the company's private jet to go back and forth to the company headquarters. And I thought, there is a fundamental violation of leadership right there before he even got to the first day, before he even talked to the troops on the line, to his companies, to his outliers, to it. Again, I don't want to say the company, but at the same time, to me, he violated a fundamental principle. If you're going to be a leader, you got to get on the ground and you got to assess what is going on, because the people that are watching you, and they'll be the first ones that will throw stones at you in that glass house. But they're there to see, are you there for them or are you there for yourself? And that is genuine leadership. And if you inspire them because you are there and you're interested in their development, you're interested in what's going on the ground. Obviously, he was brought on because there were problems with the company. So he has fixed companies, and now here he is, and he's made a fundamental flaw, a violation of leadership that he may now not recover because you only get one chance at that first shot, that first impression.
I know which company you're talking about, and there's another dimension. this is a company that's struggling because they force their workforce to come back
Yes.
to work, and yet
Yes.
he's flying on a Learjet because he doesn't want to be where the worker is asked to be. You talk
Doesn't
about
want to uproot.
Oh
doesn't
my
want
gosh.
to uproot. Okay, so fundamentally in the military, you cannot command from the rear. You have to be up. You have to take the risks with the soldiers. If you're not up there with them, they will sense that very quickly, and you have lost them. This applies to business as well. I see this all the time. I'm even kind of on our leadership at our university about some of the policies that come out for students, especially graduate students. But I've not been asked one time about how does that impact? I mean, is that an effective leadership technique? Is that an effective policy that you're putting out? Not that I have to be asked, but if you don't get down the ground, if you don't if you don't troop the line, you're not going to get the real story.
If you're not
it's
willing,
always like looking.
If you're not willing to do what you're asking your team to do, you're dead in the water. And now there comes a point that you can't do everything you're asking your team to do because you're in a different vantage point, but you still have to be able to do it from a stake of modeling. And so fascinating leadership concept there.
So Fred, another analogy to that. If you're at 35,000 feet, you're cruising westbound from New York to LAX. Okay, you're looking out the window from 35,000 feet. You're at the macro level. You're looking down. You are the CEO. You're the top leadership. You're the C-suite of that organization. All right. So we're looking down. Can you tell me the type of car that's on that? Can you even see the car on that road? Now, you
can't even see the road, maybe.
Well, but it depends. Do you have visibility restrictions? Do you have the advantage of being able to see at a certain angle? Are you in the right place? Are you in the right time? So there's a lot of things that impact your ability to see from 35,000 feet down to that person who is making that widget, who is driving that IT solution for you. And if you can't see that, how can you effectively lead up here? And, many Fortune 100 companies have made mistakes. It's very, very simple. I don't have to be a PhD. I don't have to have a master's degree. If the CEO is not coming out of that office and trooping the line, i.e. Boeing, if you're not coming out of the ivory tower and you're not down there on the assembly line, you're not asking the engineers about the mechanics of certain things that are happening that have safety implications, and those things burst in flight, and now you've put 200 passengers at risk and you're on the front page of the USA Today. How do you answer that if you don't know? So these are just some fundamental things. Some other things that
we call that, Bob, leadership by walking around.
You have to. And then there comes in the point that you can, if you're out there leading from the front, that's one thing, but you got to have the ethical, you got to have the moral background, the framework. You got to not only walk the walk, talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk. If your organization perceives you to be unethical, you've lost them. Same thing as not being out there on the front line with them. You've lost them. So ethical foundations is, I think, those things, talking the talk, but walking the walk is those things that are going to inspire others to follow you. That's my simple philosophy right there.
I love it. We haven't talked about anything technically, and yet you've talked about people, you've talked about caring for people, you've talked about the ability to sacrifice, you've talked about the ability of developing relationships. So powerful. Bob, I'm just jacked in just listening to you, and I do this every day. And it's just, you talk about the fundamentals, not only in football, the fundamentals in business, the fundamentals in the military, they're all the same. Love your people, be willing to be all in, be vulnerable, be real, be caring. and be willing to do what you're asking your team to do. It's powerful. Man, it is so good to see you. And it's just a real honor and a privilege. Anything as we close that you want to share?
I appreciate the opportunity, Dr. Fred. It's always we're being very formal right now, but I truly respect and admire where you are in your career right now, the things that you're doing, and bringing these leadership fundamentals out there to business, to civic organizations. I think it's very, very inspiring. I've been watching your company. It's very motivating, and you're having an impact out there. That's what's important. Leadership is having an impact and being able to make something better than what it's all about. And hopefully along the way, inspiring people to do the right thing, to do the ethical, to do the moral thing. And because, in today's society, you can just pick up a newspaper, go on the internet, wherever your news source is coming from, and you see this divisiveness that's going on in our country right now. And we need solid foundational leaders to help us get the ship right and go out there and do the right things and represent and be the leader of the free world out there. That's you asked about Costa Rica. They are enamored. They are magnified by talking to a U.S. citizen about how life is in the United States and how privileged we are to what we have. It's just an honor to go out there and visit other countries and see what you are fortunate to have and what others do not. It's a real eye opener. And the things that you do, Fred, and your company, I really appreciate. I'm really admirable about what you guys do, you and Tracy.
Thank you.
Kudos
buddy.
to you guys.
Thank you. The last point, great leaders don't divide their team. Great leaders unify their team around a purpose bigger than ours. And what a powerful statement. Bob, thank you, buddy. Great to see you.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Fred. Appreciate it.